welcome to Visions. I'm Mirella Rich. Our guests today are Evelyn Tadros and Laura Vines from the Human Rights Arts and Film Festival. Welcome to the program.
Thanks for having us.
Can you tell us what is the Human Rights Arts and Film Festival, please?
Well, basically it's a festival, the first of its kind in Australia, and it consists of an arts exhibition as well as film screenings that's taking place at the end of this month, and then we're travelling to Sydney, Perth and Pete's Ridge Festival.
Beautiful, so it's all over Australia.
Yep, it is.
It's exciting. And your role is the film coordinator for the festival?
Yeah, that's right. So there's actually a team of us working on the film programming. So there's about 8 of us, and we've been working since January, sourcing films from all over the world and taking submissions as well. So I was saying before, I think we've watched possibly about 350 films over the years. So it's been an amazing pool of talent we've had to pick from.
Yeah. And you're the coordinator, Evelyn, aren't you?
That's right.
What inspired you to get this started?
Well, basically I was studying in Copenhagen University. I was studying human rights law for a year, and I was just noticing how different the perception of human rights was in Europe as compared to here. Here it seems to be a lot more confined to the kind of academic and legal worlds, whereas in Europe, because I think they've got the European Court of Human Rights, it's a lot, people in the general community has an idea about human rights and has a general awareness. And I think I came back from Australia feeling like I really wanted to start up some type of project, and I thought, I found out there were human rights film festivals that had taken place pretty much all over the world, in London, New York, Paris, Auckland, and I just thought, why not in Australia? And so I just kind of got a whole group of people together and we just started working on it.
And how did you get involved?
Well, Evelyn and I have actually been friends for many, many years. And she spoke to me about this idea, and I just thought it was so exciting, such a great way to get people thinking about human rights through, art and film, and through a really creative, playful, different way of looking at these things.
And you have lots of patrons as well, sponsorships and patrons.
Right. We've got some fantastic people who've come on board. We have Justice Kirby of the High Court, Philip Noyce, who was the director of Rabbit Proof Fence and The Quiet American, and we've also got Margaret Pomeranz from At the Movies as well, which is really great.
We've got heaps of sponsors on board as well, which has been really fantastic. We've had an overwhelming amount of support from the general community and human rights organisations and everything.
And how have you managed to reach so many people, and even overseas, to get involved and send their films to Australia, which are all professional, high quality films?
Power of the internet, I must say. We've been using emailing all the time, and also just through our networks, a lot of people in the organisation have been involved in other film festivals before, like
or filmmakers themselves.
Portable Film Festival, In the Filmmaker, as well as the St Kilda Film Festival. So we've just managed to go through all those networks, as well as film schools, and
What are some of the issues that are covered in the films?
We've actually got a really broad range, which is exciting. We've got, in terms of close to home, we've got a few Melbourne films. We've got one that is about Van Nguyen, the young Australian who was killed for trafficking heroin a couple of years ago. And we've also got films about St Kilda and sex workers, and then going internationally, we've got some really high-profile films, things about current issues like Iraq and Sudan, and other kind of uplifting films. We've even got one on Sesame Street, and about elections in Ukraine, and also quite a lot on discrimination and equality as well. So a really fantastic range.
Really broad range of issues.
And when you bring these films, do you actually have a preview night as well? Is there a time where people see it before the actual festival?
As in people in the organisation?
Yeah,
well, we had to watch pretty much all of the films, and we generally watched them all in a group. We even went away for a weekend out to Point Nepean and watched, to Inverloch, and watched, had a HRAFF-a-thon all weekend and watched about 15 films.
What was it called? A
HRAFF-a-thon.
What's
the festival?
Beautiful.
But we also had a media launch just a couple of weeks ago, which was kind of the first sneak preview for the public and for journalists and our media partners. And so that was, we compiled one of our really fantastic members of the film committee compiled a montage that had a little taster of all the big features and gave a bit of an idea of what's coming.
And because in the films they are covering sort of very important issues, do people, or even when you watch it, did you feel heavy in the end by the burden of the suffering in the world?
No, I think one of the main aims of the festival was to ensure that, you know, people didn't leave the cinema feeling totally despair and, you know, and feeling this overwhelming amount of grief. We wanted people to feel like, you know, these issues are something that you can do something positive about. And so, I mean, we've managed to do that in a number of ways. Firstly, we, you know, selected films which were, you know, even though they're covering quite serious issues, pretty much all of them have a message of hope about them and are very inspiring and really galvanise people to get into, you know, to do something positive. And also we've got these things called action hubs, which are basically like stalls featuring community organisations, human rights organisations, which can tell people more about the issues involved in the film, about what they can do. But
positive,
you know,
steps that they can do to improve the situation.
Because there's no point, you know, feeling despair. You're not. It's a really debilitating, I suppose, type of feeling. You know, you just want to sit down and do nothing. Whereas, if you know, hope and positive action can really inspire you to take the next step.
Well, that's kind of a metaphor for life. You know, everyone goes through something difficult, but there's always a solution. There's always something you can go beyond it. You know, if you look, if you open your eyes and see, somewhere you can go.
And especially with something like this about human rights, you know, the aim for us is to, you know, take it down out of the political realm, out of the academic realm, and show that, you know, we're all human, and this festival is meant to try and bring people together and forge connections and try and facilitate a bit more of a community that cares about these issues. And so there's not the sense that you're just one person alone and you're a bit helpless. There's all these other people out there that are excited by the idea and care about it, and, you know,
it sounds beautiful because you've got so many involved, and everyone's doing it on a voluntary basis, aren't they?
Yeah, that's right. It's completely volunteer run and not for profit. So, I mean, it's been amazing the amount of volunteers that we've managed to get on board and who are interested and willing to give their time to this type of thing. So it's been really positive in that sense.
It's beautiful.
Definitely.
We're about to go to a break now.
Okay, great.
Stay with us. We'll be back with more very shortly.